using an ARM template. A simple demo, yet you can understand some of the best things in it. I'll go to the Azure platform to create one now. So I want to create a virtual machine that will be deployed using an ARM template. So in Azure platform, I'll go to three lines in top left corner and go to create a resource menu. Now in the search box, I search for something called template deployment. Template deployment. Now what I'll do, I'll click create button to create a template by myself in the Azure platform. Now you can see, if you see this build your own template in the editor, if you go, you can write a JSON script on your own from scratch and create a template, or upload by clicking this load file, upload a JSON file if you have one on your own. Or you see common templates, create a Linux virtual machine, create a Windows virtual machine. Suppose you go with this, then a template that could help you to create a Windows virtual machine, it directly comes in here, which you can use it, deploy it. Or you see in the same menu, you have an option, quick start templates, where if you click this, the templates that are available in GitHub, which I showed you now, these templates are what you can see here. So you can pick anything. Let's say, for example, I'll search for something like this. Let's say nested virtual machines and virtual network. Suppose I just select this as an example and I click select template. Now that entire component in the GitHub is directly selected here, but you need to just give the values needed and create a VM. Now to make it more clear, let me go with this way. So I'll go to create and I'll pick this option, create a Windows virtual machine. Now see 101 VM simple Windows, it says. If you click this, in the GitHub quick start template, this repo is taken, where this is the source code named Azure deploy.json. This one, it is taking here. This JSON is what it's directly bringing here in Azure portal. Note this, there is edit template button. For a moment, I'll click this to show you what exactly is available in it. See, this is the complete JSON, which I don't want to explain the syntax and structure of it for now, as this is a very advanced thing. But to make it clear, see, there are choices which is given in the script, which is something you can modify, like different types of OS which can be supported in here for a server, which are choices. And then you have something in here like resources block, in which you can see, I want to create a storage account, so we are deploying an endpoint called microsoft.storage/storage account. You want to create an IP address, then microsoft.network/public IP address. You want to create a virtual, there is network security group for a VM, microsoft.network/network security group. You want to create a virtual network, microsoft.network/networks. That is virtual networks. You want to create a network interface, this one. You want to create a virtual machine, then microsoft.compute/virtual machine. This way, everything which you are going to create, each of them you specify in that particular block of code, and this is something you make a REST API call. Now I saw some question in the chat that how do you define operating system image in this script? So when you make the script deployed, you can see in this Microsoft.compute block, which I said now, which creates a virtual machine. You can see the properties. So you can see OS profile, which is given with computer name, username, and password, whereas OS disk, it's mentioned like create option from image, which will create a disk. Now main thing, which is your image, what image you are going to get. You mentioned here like publisher as Windows Server, offer as Windows Server, then SKU, which is which OS version you're taking from parameters. So parameters in the sense on the left side you can see. There is a parameter called OS version, which is this one, which is this particular thing, which you will be selecting. So if I select as a user and I'm creating the script, if I select 2019 data center as an option, then Windows Server 2019 data center, it will deploy. So in a simple word, there are certain predefined syntax which are given by Microsoft. You give that, then Microsoft knows that you're trying to deploy a Windows Server or Linux or whatever the VM you want. So for people who want to get in detailed understanding about ARM templates, where you need to build an ARM template for every resource of Azure, you can find in the following link. Check this out. So ARM templates you can find here. Coming back, I'll just click save button. Now that's noted, Whatever the infrastructure script written in here, for that there are something like username for the VM, password of the VM, such data the user should give. Only those are what you are supposed to fill. Now, let's say subscription is this one. Resource group, if I click create new and name it as ARM underscore RG, that is Azure Resource Manager resource group, I'll name it. I click OK. So you get a new resource group this way. Now region, I'll name it, let's say I'll change the region from Central India to East US because I want my VM to be in East US. Admin username, let's say I'll write some name, let's say demo user. A valid password, let's say Azure at 12345678. Now other details we'll leave it blank because I said right, we don't want to explore in depth about it, but it's like very interesting and in-depth component. So if I explain like how these works, it will be confusing you for now. Just know for now that yes, you can deploy a resource using such an ARM template as well. Now the moment you click this review plus create, it makes a validation of the script once more. Now whatever the script you have now, that script will be made as a REST API call, where that Microsoft.compute will make a REST API call to Microsoft Compute endpoint. The storage account creation will make a REST API call to Microsoft.storage, and that's how it works. Now the moment you click the create button, this will now create a virtual machine for you, which will be deployed by making a REST based API call to Azure service endpoints, whichever I have in the script, to deploy your VM, DB, or whatever so you have in the line. So in this one scenario, it will create a VM like what we mentioned. So this is in the progress now. So here we go, that's deployed successfully now. And here is my VM, which we created now using our template, which is simple VM, the name of it. And I can make a connection to it, work with it as I preferably want to. So that's an execution example where you can create resources using ARM templates. Everything is same, just the way you deploy is through script. The 1,000 times you deploy the ARM template, you get the same output, just the names of the resources you might vary by, like each customer might give a different name, but 1,000 times you do it, you still get the same output, which is an example of ARM template deployment. Meanwhile, the next one, how do you create your VMs or any other resources through PowerShell? Let me take